What's up? So here's how I'm growing my AI SaaS in 2026 without spending $1 on paid ads. And you see all around the web, everyone showing you, hey, I'm making 5K a day, I'm making 10K a day with my SaaS, I'm making $1 million a month with my SaaS in revenue. Nobody actually shows you profit. Why? Because most of these guys are pouring in hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads and their actual revenue is either zero or even negative. And so I want to go over exactly what we're doing right now to bring in users to our SaaS without paying a single dollar on paid advertisement. It's all through organic, it is free, and it involves ChatGPT. And so with that being said, let me just jump straight into my computer so I can show you step by step what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how you can do it too. Let's go. All right, we're here. Let's just break it down. So the new way to grow a SaaS in 2026 without paid ads. And by the way, here's proof. Again, we don't make this much money every single day. Just some nuance here, right? I wish. But by the way, this is all achieved through organic, right? We spent $0 to acquire this revenue, right? So just some social proof that I know what I'm doing, okay? So now you can listen to me. So what is this new strategy? Before I show you the strategy, let me just show you what I mean. So this right here, what you're looking at is the number of users who came from ChatGPT, right? It's 26.7% of our users come from ChatGPT. Now there's some nuance here, which I'll address in a bit, but this is insane because to show up on ChatGPT, well, guess how much you pay? Well, $0, because you cannot pay to show up on ChatGPT. So it's all organic. And so while your customers are spending thousands of dollars every single day for 30% of their users coming from Meta ads or Google ads, right? We pay $0 and we get 30% of them from ChatGPT, which, by the way, this is still being studied. I'd argue, people coming in from GPT are more likely to convert. I have no data on this. I could be 100% wrong. Please prove me wrong. But my intuition tells me this is true. Because when someone's scrolling through Meta or Instagram or whatever, right, and they're presented with an ad, right, they aren't in necessarily a mood to buy, right? Well, when they go on Google or ChatGPT, they're asking questions, looking for stuff. So in my opinion, they're much more likely and willing and predisposed to buying something. So that's that. But regardless, this is what you're looking at, okay? Now, what are all these weird codes, right? When you go in ChatGPT, okay, and look at this big arrow right here. When I hover over any reference, right, well, what just shows up down there? It shows up arvo.com/UTM source equals ChatGPT. And this is how, like Google Analytics, we use PostHog, which is where that screenshot comes from. But any analytics tool you use, this is how the analytics tool knows, okay, these guys came from ChatGPT. These guys came from Facebook, or for example, from YouTube. If I go into YouTube right here, I can add a link into my description, right? arvo.com/this right here. And I can add anything I want here. In this case, I just copied the YouTube video ID and just paste it here. So I know if people click here and they buy our SaaS, in my analytics tool, it will tell me, hey, listen, this guy who bought your SaaS came from this UTM code. And I know this UTM code right here is from this video. So I know they watched the video, they clicked the link, and they bought the product. So UTM codes are a great way to basically just track where your leads come from. This is old stuff, old tech, pretty easy to do. Now, the cool thing is that now, I think this is quite recent, GPT gives you and puts UTMs in their links. So any source, right, whether they source our software or whether they source an e-commerce or whatever, right, in that dedicated page, the analytics tools, it will show a little UTM source equals GPT. So this is how we know that almost 30% of them come from ChatGPT. And it's increasing, by the way. It was 6.7%, now 14%, and now 30%. So this is how these UTM codes work. Now, let me just break this down a bit. So 30% of our leads come from ChatGPT. There's a big asterisk here because there's some nuance to this, which I'll address in the end. So again, August, 6.7% of them came from ChatGPT. September, almost double, 14%, or more than double, 14% of them came from ChatGPT. And now, doubling again, almost 30% of them came from ChatGPT. Okay, just again, people are just having conversations, and if you know how GPT works, it's like a funnel-like engine, right? You prompt it with something, gives you an answer. You prompt it with something, gives you an answer. You prompt it again until we are happy with the answer that it gives you, right? And like with, you can do compression right here, and like with Google, on Google, you just type in a keyword, right? It gives you, for example, first result, an article. Second result, maybe a YouTube video, right? Third result, maybe like a Reddit thread, where it just has a bunch of comments. And so while you usually, previously, as a human, you'd click, read the article, click, watch the YouTube video, click, skim through the Reddit comments. Now ChatGPT does this for you, right? You prompt it with something, and basically all it does is it goes in and deconstructs your prompt and transforms it into keywords that it searches up on Bing and other places, and reads the articles, watches the videos, reads the Reddit comments for you, and then just lays out all that info in a little small text snippet. So it's a bunch more convenient. But that's all basically it's doing, okay? And that's a little bit of a tangent right here. But point being is that how do we actually do this? How are we getting this many people from GPT, and how is it increasing so fast? And why are we making this much money? Okay, so I'd love to tell you that there's a magic trick, but in reality, it's quite boring. There's no magic trick, right? The main reason why this has been the case, okay, why this has been increasing month over month, it's because we just produce an unhealthy amount of content, an insane amount of content. Because how these LLMs work is when you prompt it with something to give you an answer, well, they have to look for it, right? They have to read the articles, watch the videos, read through the Reddit comments. So how do you get cited? Well, you have to produce a bunch of content, right? And that's exactly what we're doing. For our SaaS, Arvo, which I'll link in the description, we don't just produce blog posts, right? We produce YouTube videos, we convert those videos into blog posts, we produce news articles, we produce LinkedIn posts, Twitter posts, we produce a bunch of different contents, a bunch of different touch points, And so when someone is prompting something to the AI, right, because we have these many touch points, we increase our likelihood of showing up on these LLMs. And I'll give you more specifics, and I'll give you at the end a full 1 hour tutorial into exactly how we're doing it, so don't worry, right? But that's basically it, right? Again, both in written and video formats. There's no particular secret to this, right? But there are some things you can do with your brand that help. Because yes, producing a bunch of content is the basis of this, and it does work, but there's some nuance to this. Let's just go over the nuance first. So again, regardless if you're in SaaS, e-commerce, agency, info business, doesn't matter. This all applies across the board. Again, it's boring, but it's all about producing high quality content that satisfies the user's search intent. Okay, but what I mean by this is, like, if you want to be mentioned on ChatGPT for what's the best software for, what's the best CRM for doctors, right? Well, you have to be producing content that makes it known that you are the best CRM for doctors. Videos, news articles, blog posts, whatever. Produce content. Quite straightforward, okay? And in that content, if you want to show up for the keyword, hey, best CRM for dentists, well, you better mention that you are the best CRM for dentists in your content. You better mention why that is, okay? So again, whether that's a blog post, a YouTube video, a TikTok, a news article, a comparison page where you're comparing your software business with another one, or an alternative page where you're basically saying, hey, listen, here are 10 alternatives to a competitor of ours. And by the way, I'll give you at the end a 50-minute course that goes over all this stuff in a bit more detail. A product or service page, a feature page, doesn't matter. You have to be producing content. Now, on top of that, it's very important that you focus on positioning, okay, and making sure that the LLMs know a couple of things. What you sell, okay, why do you sell it, who's your ICP, and what's the pain point it solves, okay? So again, if you don't put out this info into the world, how can you expect the LLM to all of a sudden now give you all these citations if it doesn't know even what you sell, why you sell it? Because you never know if someone's searching for, hey, I'm looking for a software that does XYZ because I needed to help my, my elderly grandmother do whatever, right? That's the why, because I need this. And so if you mention that your software helps with this particular issue for this particular ICP, ideal client profile, right, and you're specific about what you do, well, you increase your chances for showing up and be cited. This is exactly what we're doing and why this is growing. It will only grow more, right? In November, it'll maybe be 45%, December, who knows, right? Who knows what happens in 2026? That's basically it. Now, I'm going to give you access to this and this. These are two videos. This one goes over how to do this content creation in video format, okay? And this one in written format. These two videos right here, literally these two videos right here, that I'm just plastering right here, these are my step-by-step. I think this one is 1 hour, and this one is 1 hour as well. Go over exactly every single thing we're doing to creating content, how we create, why we created, that delivered and caused this right here, okay? it's basically, it's just go watch those 2 ones. I'll leave them in the description so you can go watch them once this is done. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that there was this little asterisk right here, right? 30% of our leads come from ChatGPT. Now, it's not really leads. These are the percentage, these percentages, excuse me, are from the total number of leads we collect UTM data from. Meaning we're not getting 30% of all our leads from ChatGPT, right? Just the ones we can track UTM clicks from. Does that make sense? So these right here, and I'll even open up post log right here. Again, this is just basically like Google Analytics, but just better. You see right here, this for October, 26.7% of our leads that we track UTM clicks from came from GPT, not 26.7% of all our leads. Hopefully that made sense. It's just the ones we can track UTM clicks from. And UTM clicks is only one way to track leads from. Still, it's pretty cool. Okay. And so hopefully this was valuable. Hopefully this made sense. Now I know this is a bit more theoretical, but please, please, please go watch these 2 right here. Okay, these will literally show you exactly how we're doing this in a more practical way. There was no point in me recording these 2 videos over again because it's just outlined here. So just go watch them. I'll put one right here. So click here to watch it. And the other one is going to be linked down in the description. So click here, go watch it. And while you hover your mouse around this video, do me a huge favor and please comment the words SaaS, S-A-A-S. That'll be amazing. That'll help me push out this video to more people. It will help with the YouTube algorithm. And while you're here, please like and give a little subscribe. And let me know if you have any questions about this, and let me know if you have any other subjects or topics you want me to record videos about. So again, thank you so much. Click here to watch it, because if you don't watch this right here, all this stuff was pointless. So click here, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.